Good morning. I'm going to tell you everything. You guys are just going to be obedient this morning, and as you always are. Okay, so yeah, Wednesday yoga. Today we're going to focus on sitting in a chair. Now, we do this a lot, and many of you have heard sitting in a chair is the new smoking, or sitting is the new smoking. And it doesn't have to be that way. You've got to get up from time to time. They even say if you spend more than 4 hours sitting in a chair, you're leading a sedentary lifestyle. That's probably before the invention of screens and computers, because we're all sitting on our butts, our assets, if you will. So I just want you to sit back in your chair. So push your bums back into your chair, and then close your eyes for a moment. And I want, if you can, have your feet flat on the floor, because this is something that is important for when you are honoring your spine, is to sit flat on the floor. Now, when you close your eyes, check in with your lumbar spine. The spine has 3 curves, and it's curved because it's meant to be a shock absorber. When you learn, it's like losing the arch in your foot. We've talked about it. If you don't have an arch in your foot, you plod along. So in yoga, we try to, create, in addition to whatever arch you have, so that your knees and your hips aren't being jolted every time you walk, which we do too. So if you flatten your lumbar curve and your cervical curve, you don't have the cushion for everything that you do. So checking in with your lower back right now, and I love that some of you are using a cushion under your feet, because here's the deal. You want your feet flat on the floor. If your feet are not flat on the floor, then you're going to put your foot on a cushion, okay? The other thing to pay attention to, and I'm looking around here, is that, and everybody's chairs are different, you don't want your knees higher than your your anterior superior iliac spine. Now, just lift one knee and notice how that starts to flatten your curve. If you're sitting in chairs where your knees are higher, you're flattening that lumbar curve. You're losing that shock absorption. You're losing the integrity of a spine that is truly the most important structure of your body. The spine houses your spinal cord, and from the spinal cord, all the nerves are going to all your muscles, all your organs, et cetera, et cetera. And there's something called spinal stenosis. That's where your spinal cord narrows and you get less blood pressure flow to everything. So there's lots of reasons to really pay attention to your posture, whether you're sitting or standing. Now, if you feel you don't have a really nice lumbar curve, then I want you to take your cushion, whatever you have, and you might want to do this anyway. I don't drive without support from my lumbar. And I realize that automobiles have lumbar support, but to me, they're just paying lip service to something. It doesn't really exist. So I don't get out of the car feeling sore, and I don't get out of the car like this. I mean, I might be a little stiff after 4 or 5 hours of sitting in traffic going nowhere, but that's probably my aggravation more than the physical. So put your little cushion in your back and know what it feels like. And that's a pretty large cushion for some of you. Are there any more of these left? And I'll just, if anybody would like a smaller kind of cushion, lumbar, anybody? Right over here. Here we go. So this would make a perfect tech guy. Does he have a lumbar cushion? Boy, does he need one. Here, pass it on. Good grief. Yeah, he's my poster child for somebody who resists. So, yeah, and by the way, these are the things that I have used in my, if you're a passenger, I don't care if you're the passenger, we should have something supporting our lower back. As soon as we collapse, we don't breathe as well. We don't get the oxygen we need. We get tired. We get grouchy. This is what I'm using now in my car. But I still like these little puppies. So I just wanted you to, feel what it's like to sit up tall. And now let your arms hang down by your sides, okay? And then squeeze your shoulder blades together. Okay, this opens up. This is great for hunched shoulders. And release. And let's do this 2 more times. Inhaling and exhaling, squeeze your shoulder blades together. I should be sitting on a chair too to demonstrate this. Forgot to get myself a chair. Okay, and release. And one last time. And releasing. Now interlock your fingers behind the back of your heads. Sitting up nice and tall, your feet should be flat on the floor. If they're not, put a cushion or put a block underneath them. Inhaling in place. Exhale, let's twist to the left. Keep your hips, it doesn't matter which side if you didn't go to the left. Okay, and then dip the opposite elbow. So if you went to the left, you're going to dip your right elbow and go nice and slow. Dip it down. And inhale, come back up and come back to the center. Inhale, lift up through the crown. Exhale, let's twist to the other side. Don't go any further than your lower back is keen on. Listen to your bodies, practice with awareness, respect, and compassion. So if you twist it to the right, you're going to dip the opposite left elbow down. Now, twist positions are so enervating, energizing, and rejuvenating to your spinal column. Come back up and come back to the center. One more time, inhale, lifting up. Feel your sits bones growing into your chairs. And then turn to the first side that you went to. Breathing in, exhale, dip the opposite elbow. Don't go too far. Stretching out the muscles that may not have felt anything for a while, except maybe soreness, tightness. Inhale, come back to center. And after you've breathed in, exhale, turn to the other side, last time. And tip the elbow. So I'm definitely feeling something on one side that I didn't know was there. So I'm just aware. Awareness, of course, first step to making any changes in life. Inhale, come back, and then rest your hands on your thighs for a moment. And just close your eyes for a moment. Notice how much core strength is required to sit up tall. It takes nothing to collapse, okay? You're sitting in your comfortable couch, passing out, watching Netflix, okay, got it. But you know, when you're awake, we should be really conscious and focused, whether you're binging, watching, or whatever you're doing, sitting up nice and tall. And then inhale, take your arms out to the side, shoulder height. And let's make some circles. You can close your eyes so you're practicing mindfully, feeling the muscles you're using, and change the direction. And then bring the arms in front. Stretch your fingers out on an inhale. Exhale. Let's fold the thumb in and wrap the fingers around. Inhale to stretch. Exhale, fold your thumbs in. One more time, stretch them out. You know, if you have arthritic fingers or wrists or anything, this is a good exercise to do. And release your arms for a moment. And breathe, sitting up nice and tall. Imagine there's a string coming out of the top of your head. Remember, breathing in through your nose cleanses, purifies, and moisturizes or humidifies the air that's entering into the lungs, makes it a lot easier for your alveoli to receive that oxygen and exchange it for the carbon dioxide. Okay, inhale, arms straight out in front. Now, you're going to take one hand on top of the other, and you're just going to bend at the wrist. So you're feeling a stretch through the wrist. And then let's bring it up. Now you can do this against a wall too if you were, what do I want to say? If you're on a timeout from somebody saying, I need a timeout, go up against the wall, press your hands. So you're feeling the stretch, especially through the wrist area, spending so much time typing and pecking, and release and give it a good shake out. In fact, let's make some rotate here and change the direction. And then other hand, pressing down, still sitting up nice and tall. So again, it may feel different from one hand to the other. And changing. And that will do. And give that hand a good shake out. Maybe rotate. Okay, so placing your hands on your thighs, you may need to come up a little bit onto the edge of your chairs or not, but you want your feet flat on the floor. We're going to do cat-cow and sitting. So on an inhale, you're going to extend your spine and let your head fall back. You're going to create that hollow in the lower back. And on an exhale, you're going to round your spine, tuck your chin, and you're going to push your spine in towards the back of your chair. And on an inhale, arcing, extending, lengthening, head goes back. And exhale into cat, dropping your chin, pull your bellies in towards your spine, round your back as much as you can. And again, inhaling. And last time, exhaling. And inhale, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to do Uttanasana. So that's just, we're just going to inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, you're going to slide your hands down your legs, fold over, kind of into that lazy man's traction of stretching out your lumbar spine. Please relax your head, your neck, give your head a bit of a swing, and then on an inhale, slowly bring your hands along your shins and up to your thighs, inhaling in place, lengthening, exhaling, slide your hands down your legs. Inhale, draw your hands back up. And we're going to do this one last time. Inhaling, lifting up through the crown. Exhale, slide your hands down the front of your legs. Let your head hang. Sometimes I just give it a bit of a swing just to make sure that I'm not holding. Okay. And then inhale, come on all the way back up, sitting nice and tall. We're going to do pigeon. So you might need to come a little bit to the edge of your chair again, sitting up tall. You're going to take your left leg or right, doesn't matter. We're going to do both sides. Place your ankle on top of your knee. Now, here's where, if you feel like your knee's hurting a little bit, well, in fact, if it's hurting a lot, you're not going to do this, you'll modify. But if you put some height underneath your butt and you lift up, you may find that takes some of the pressure off the knee. So your pigeon pose, sitting up nice and tall. How's the temperature in here? Is it okay? It's a little bit on the cool side, isn't it? Anyway, okay. We'll be moving a little bit more after this. Okay. And that will do. And maybe just give that knee a little bit of a swing. In fact, why don't we do this now? Interlock your fingers 2 inches below and behind your knee. Sitting up nice and tall. Inhale, Bring that leg forward. Exhale down. Inhale, straight out. And back. So by holding the back of our legs, we can more easily keep our spines nice and straight. If you were to do this without your hands, your lower back's going to collapse. And back. And one more time. So working the hip flexors, the quads, and then let's rotate. And change the direction. And point the foot. Flex, point, and flex, and back down. Yay. Sitting up nice and tall. So you really realize like how much our core, mostly our back muscles are really required for sitting up tall. Let's try the other ankle on top of the knee. Sitting up nice and tall. Shh. Now you may want to pull your bellies back. If you pull your bellies back, you might feel a little more intensity in the stretch, and maybe you don't want that. Breathing into the area, but if you pull your belly back, pull your lumbar back, and sometimes we do this when we're doing pigeon on the floor. Shh. So really feel what you're working. Don't do too much and don't do too little. And that will do. Interlock your fingers underneath the backs of your thighs, sitting up tall. And let's extend the leg and back. Extend and back. Extend. Try to relax your shoulders while you're doing this. Extend. And one more time, extend. And then let's rotate at the ankle. And change the direction. And then point the foot, flex, point, and flex, and point and flex. And that will do. Sitting up nice and tall. Now, I want you to imagine that you have a string at the top of your head. And just being able to get out of a chair and sit back down without using your hands and your arms. So let your hands hang down by your side. Pressing the soles of your feet flat into the floor, so you can't have anything under your feet now. You'll have to remove the block from under your feet. Okay, and on an inhale, let's with control, stand up. And slowly sit down, working your thighs, thinking about horseman's pose. And inhale, come on up. And exhale, slowly come back down. You may use your arms in front for balance, I suppose. Bringing them to your side. And back down. And last time. Shh. And back down. So when you're sitting in those really cushy couches, think about trying to get up without using your hands. Okay, you're going to turn sideways on with your chair on your mats now. So any way you like. You don't need the cushions at this point. And you're going to straddle your chair. So turn your chair sideways on your mat. Sideways on your mat. And you're going to have one foot in front. This is going to be warrior 2. You may want to face me or not, whatever works. So you're straddling your chair. Okay? Won't be perfect, but it's going to be. And then can you see me, June? You're just kind of straddling your chair, sitting sideways. One leg's behind. And then inhale, sweep the arms up and fix your gaze over your front arm. Lower your shoulders, lengthen. Breathe. And inhaling to stretch. Exhale, let's come into peaceful warriors. Reach that front arm straight up the other arm back down, but the energy goes up, 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 up. Breathing, stretching, and coming back to warrior two. And then bring your front elbow onto your front thigh. Take that back arm down around into Parsvottanasana. Bring it up and over your ear. The bottom palm faces up. The top palm faces down. And you're stretching that back leg as much as you can. Now, some of you may be on very wide chairs, so I get that it could be a bit awkward, and Miss Brenda is. Yeah. Just do what you can. I get it. All chairs are different. And then inhaling, come back up. And then let's go in the other direction. So do what you can. I know some of these chairs are wide. I should have made sure the taller people got the wider chairs. In a perfect world. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, lower your shoulders, focus your gaze over your front fingertips. Nice, everybody. Reaching and stretching and breathing, especially exhaling. Last week, our class on the vagus nerve, I don't know how many of you felt different all day because I teach 2 classes. I was kind of very calm and felt grounded, and just life seemed easier last Wednesday. And inhale to stretch, exhale, lower your back arm, down your back leg, and then reaching up. Now don't overreach down. That kind of crunches your obliques and may not be pleasant for your spine. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, come back into warrior two, stretching, and then release your forearm onto your front thigh. Take that back arm down around in front of you. This is just such a lovely, gentle way to bring that top arm over your ear, and then feel the line of energy right from your fingertips to the outside of your back foot. Stretching that back leg, whatever amount you can. And breathe. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, come on back. And then one last time, I just want you to really check in with your lower back. Now, when a chair sinks down, and some of these do, especially the red ones, they sink down. This is a mistake in my world. And a lot of chairs, especially church pews, bad. Not good for your back, but there are things you can do. You take your coat, you fold it up behind you, or you just use the muscles that God gave you to sit up nice and tall, and your arms are down by your side, and your shoulders are relaxed. Maybe your palms are turned up. For some of us, this is how we would meditate, and because sitting cross-legged or sitting on the floor doesn't really work. And let's exhale. Okay, come on up to standing. We're going to do and use the chair for a moment, and then we're going to put the chairs away. So tree pose. A lot of people find balancing. So turn your chair so that you're still on your mats and you can hold on to the back of your chair if need be. Some of us don't mind doing tree pose without holding the chair. So you're going to balance first on your right foot. So come up onto the ball of the left foot. Remember, wait for your own inner cue for balanced posture. It's not my cue, it's yours. And then you're going to place your foot either below the knee or above the knee. Not, please, on the knee. No, 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 no. Okay? And then if your pants are slippery, like mine, and your feet, you're probably going to hold your foot. And if you need the chair, it's there. Your knee should be out to the side. So you're externally rotating your hip bone. Great, beautiful. And give that standing leg a shake out. And then if you're doing the other side, you may want to move your chair just to have it there in case. Standing up nice and tall, take your time. So now you're balancing on the other foot. Bring your chair right beside you so you can, the back of your chair, or move around to the back of your chair if you don't want to move the chair. Okay, and then place the sole of your foot inside of your thigh, not on your knee. And focus your gaze probably on the floor. Balanced postures not only work a lot of little tiny proprioceptor muscles, but they help us focus in life. And focus is a good thing. Okay. So now, last option with a chair. Some of us don't mind doing plank position, comme ça, right? And if that's the case with you, then please take your plank position. If for some of you, you have a shoulder injury, your wrists are not strong enough, whatever the case, use your chair on your mat to come into a plank position, whatever feels best for you, okay? So that's an option. If plank is too much, you're going to use your chair, and then you can lower yourself up or down, keeping your wrists, your elbows, and your shoulders in alignment. All right? Don't let your shoulders or your elbows wing out. So if you are in plank on the floor, I love seeing this with the chair because you can really maintain your integrity beautifully when you use the chair and don't overdo it. So your neck should be in line with your spine. You're like a 2x4, guys. You're like really strong, right? Now, why do we do plank so much? Well, it strengthens your entire body, but what it really strengthens is the core, your upper body, your shoulders, and your arms. But you need to practice with awareness, respect, and compassion. Pull your bellies in, shoulders away from your ears, pressing all 10 fingers into the mat or the chair. Engage. Don't let your heads hang. And then release your knees to the floor. Okay, and let's take one child's pose before we do one more Vashisthasana. So, child's pose, your knees are as wide as your mat, big toes are touching, tops of your feet are flat. You're taking your hips back towards your heels, and then you're lowering your torso between your thighs, your forehead, if it's comfortable, on the mat, or fold your forearms one over top of the other to add height. And breathing into your side and back ribs. And come on up. Remember to take a sip of water whenever you need. So, last one, Vashisthasana. Again, a couple of options here. You can use the chair for it, but that might be a little tricky, and I think it's even harder, so I'm going to say don't use the chair for it. Here's the options for Vashisthasana. Starting in plank, you're either on your arm, and you can use a kickstand, or come on to your forearms. And by the way, if you have shoulder injuries and it's not gonna, and this is harming you, just do something else. So you can do it on your forearm, and one side may be stronger than the other. And this is a tough posture, guys. So you can do it with your arms, you can do it on your forearm, you can have your kickstand, your top leg, you bend, bring forward like a kickstand, and then come on back over. Bring your knees down for a moment, take a breath, regroup, and let's try the other side. And that will do. Walk your feet towards your hands, or your hands towards your feet. Bend your knees. Let your bellies rest on your thighs. Let the crown of your head just hang. In fact, give it a little bit of a swing. And then with your feet firmly planted into the ground, with your knuckles just dragging on the mat, keep your knees soft. Slowly roll up, one vertebra at a time. Keep your chin tucked in. Let your head be the last thing to come up. Inhale the shoulders up to the ears. Interlock your fingers behind your backs. Squeeze your shoulder blades together one more time. Let's release the tension from the shoulders. And then have your knees and your toes pointing outwards. Bend them. Inhale, lift your hearts, your gaze. Exhale, lead with your hearts bending forward. Arms up, whatever amount they can. Let the crown of your head float down. And release your hands, let them swing. And walk your feet back in towards one another so your ankles, your knees, and your hips are in alignment. And slowly roll up, one vertebra at a time. And then we're going to move our chairs away from our mat. Just put them anywhere at this point. And what I'd like you to do, after you put your chairs away, is to find something. There's a wall there. I want you to, after you move your chairs away from your mats, I want you to press your bums. Your heels will be a little bit away. Now they can't see me on the camera. Hello. Imagine there's a wall. Just press up against the wall. So you want your bum, maybe your shoulder blades and the back of your head up against that wall. Pressing the soles of your feet into the floor, lifting up on the inner thighs, and then just take a walk back to your mat and feel what standing tall in good posture feels like. Your arms are by your side, okay? That's it. Every once in a while you can check in with yourself. Now that wasn't really a wall, guys, but you would think there'd be lots of walls to press up. Okay, let's take a sip of water and then come on down onto your mats before we come back up. And draw your knees when you're ready into your hips and just do a little rocking from side to side. So what we just did was definitely creating some tension and pressure on the muscles of the back mostly. And if your muscles are weak, then you had to exert a little more. So you're going to make some circles on your lower back, like a self-massage. And changing the direction. And then after you're done with that, keep your knees bent. Place the soles of your feet on the floor with your knees bent, your heels lining up with your sits bones or ischial tuberosities. And then place your arms beside your body. Lift your shoulder blades up and tuck them under your heart. Tilt your chin towards the center of your chest. So you're lengthening the back of your cervical vertebra. You've got that curvature, the cervical curve, and you have that lumbar curve, both happening. And then, of course, the opposite is the thoracic curve, which is the three curves in your spine that provide you with your natural shock absorption. Okay, arms are beside the body with the palms facing down. Press the small of your back into the floor, tilting your tailbone and your pelvis up. Peel your spine off the floor, coming up into bridge. So this is an extension. A little bit of a back bend, but mostly extension. You have 33 vertebrae, 7 in your neck, 7 cervical vertebrae, 12 in your thoracic, 5 in your lumbar, and then your sacrum are fused bones. So feel the muscles that are being activated, be your quadriceps, your hamstring, secondly, your glutes. Extending the spine. One more breath in. Exhale, starting from the top of your spine, slowly lower your torso all the way back down. Now, I want you to get your cushion, and we're going to do a supported fish pose. So you're going to bring the cushion underneath your where your shoulder blades are, and you're just going to let your head hang back. So supported fish pose, your legs can be straight out in front, they can be bent. You could be in Baddha Konasana with your feet, your soles of your feet together and your knees splaying out to the side, palms facing up in the open and receiving position. So you're opening up the throat area. Normally our heads are pitched forward. Until there were screens, I never heard the expression tech neck. And I have mentioned to you before that your head normally weighs something between 10, 13, maybe 15 pounds. And when it's square on your shoulders, there's a minimal amount of pressure on your cervical vertebra, mostly just gravitational. When you bend your head forward 15 or 20 degrees, you're adding about 25 pounds of added pressure on your cervical vertebra. Some people I look at, their heads are about 40 or 50 degrees forward. Now you're getting into the danger zone of shaving off some of the bone in your cervical vertebra or herniating one of your discs, which means the gelatinous part of the disc is squeezed out, and now you get bone on bone and it can pinch a nerve. So any kind of numbness, tingling, pain in anywhere in your body typically refers to some type of pinching of a nerve, and it just means things are not in alignment or we haven't been paying attention to our posture. And quite frankly, poor posture can lead to all kinds of issues in your tissues. Not kidding. Everything from your organs to headaches to poor sleep habits, poor digestion, elimination. It goes on and on. So, you know, you don't want to drive a car that's in bad alignment. Why would you want to live in a body that's not in good alignment? A rhetorical question, of course. Okay, let's bring your knees up and let's come up to a seated position and just come on over onto your bellies for a moment. And then we'll be coming up again. So you can move your cushions. We're going to come into Sphinx pose. So you're sliding your forearms in front of your body. Elbows should be underneath your shoulders. And your hands straight out in front with your fingers spread apart. Tops of your legs and tops of your feet are flat on the floor. So on an inhale, you're just lengthening and extending through the thoracic and neck area. And on an exhale, lower yourself all the way down, and you may need to draw your fingers back to do this. On an inhale, slide your fingers back out and your forearms coming into Sphinx. Why we're doing this? Because back bends have a really they provide your spine with a great opportunity of getting the alignment perfect. So lifting, lengthening. So you're really drawing, you're actually pressing into your elbows as if you were pressing the elbows backwards as you lengthen and lift through the crown. And remember, when we're in our back bends, we can let our eyes float up, open or closed, to our third eye, Ajna chakra, the seat of intuition. One more breath in, exhale, and lower all the way down. Drawing the fingertips back. Last time. Bringing elbows under shoulders, forearms straight out in front, shoulders away from the ears, lifting and lengthening through the upper chest. And of course, this is all counteracting rounded, hunched shoulders, which we spend a lot of our time in because most of what we do is in front of our bodies, not behind our bodies. Your pectoral chest muscles, your trapezius muscles, which are those big fan-like muscles that start at the base of your neck, go out to your shoulders and down the top of the spine, and your levator scapula. One more breath in and come on all the way down. So I'm going to tell you, levator scapula, it is exactly what it sounds like. They lift your scapula. And a lot of people's scapulas, or those, now I can't even think of the norm. What do we call them when we don't call them the anatomical term? Shoulder blades. Gee whiz. Dr. Joey? No, okay. Yeah, those things are usually raised up. So we're just paying attention to moving the shoulder blades down the back as well as the shoulders away from your ears. Much more attractive look, longer neck, more elegant, if not royal looking. All right, let's bring the hands, palms into the floor by the chest. Press up. And curl your toes under, and slowly with your knees bent, let your upper body hang, let your knuckles drag, feel the stretch in the lower back. Remember, this is the lazy man's traction to stretch out your lower back, and then inhale and slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. And inhale, shoulders up to ears. Exhale and roll them back. Take a sip of water. We're going to do a vinyasa now, a bit of a flow. See, she's singing Om Shanti. We want peace in our bodies. Am I being silly today? I think I'm getting ready for the one of a kind because that's where we get to be really fun. And you know, my friend Tiffany here, she'll be at the one of a kind too. We'll talk about that after the show. Right, so come on up to the fronts of your mats, everybody. It's gonna feel like sun salutations, but it's gonna be more of a flow. So, inhaling in place, exhaling, hands in prayer. Step your feet apart, arms up, reach up, arc back, extend. And then inhale, bring your feet back together, lift out of your waist, fold from your hips, coming forward. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Step your right leg back about one leg length. Okay, your fingertips are still on the floor. And then you're going to windmill your arms and come up into warrior two. Yay. Okay, so keep your wrists mostly, bend your front knee, bend your front knee. Have a look that you can see your toe, your big toe in front of your front knee. That's activating your front adductor. Press into the outside of your back foot, activate that other adductor muscle. Lower your shoulders and breathe. Fix your gaze over your front fingertips. Inhaling in place. Exhale, lower your back arm, reaching up, stretching up, looking up. Exhale, coming back into warrior two. Obviously, this is a repeat of what we did in our chairs. Bring your front forearm onto your front thigh. Take your back arm and sweep it around and over. Blossom your hearts. Open to the side of your mats. You're reaching with that top palm is facing the floor. You've got a line of energy. You're pressing into the outside of your back foot and you're stretching with that top arm. And then inhale, straighten your front leg, coming into Trikonasana. Reach your top arm up, reaching up, 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 up. Exhale, bend that front leg, come back into Parsvottanasana, reaching your top arm over your ear, stretching, reaching. Inhale, back into triangle, Trikonasana. Last time, Parsvottanasana, side angle. Inhaling, come back to warrior two. Make sure your shoulders are right over hips, so you're not leaning forward with that torso. And then turn your feet sideways, turn your toes out. Exhale, forward fold halfway. Bring your fingertips to the floor. And then inhale, sweep the left arm up, reaching up and stretching up. Feel the stretch in the inner opposite adductor, inner thigh. Exhale, float that arm down. Inhale, sweep the other arm up, reaching up and stretching up. Exhale. Let's walk the hands over to the left foot, placing your right hand near that foot, and inhale, sweep the other arm up, twisting through the torso. Now energy is up. Don't sink into your bottom arm. Stretch up. Exhale, float that arm down. Walk your hands over to your other foot, and then stretch your right arm up, reaching up and stretching up. Exhale, float it down. And now let's change to the other side. So now you're going to be facing the back of your mats, and you're going to think about what you're doing, practicing mindfully. Your front knee is bent, your back leg is straight. Windmill the arms and come up into warrior two. So look at your front knee and look at your big toe. Is your knee flopping into the center of your mat? You want your knee to press over your middle, if not your baby toe. Shoulders relaxed, shoulder blades or scapula down your backs. You're stretching through your fingertips. Reach and stretch. Nice, everybody. Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2. And now lower your back arm down your back leg and reach with the other arm straight up, maybe even looking up. Peaceful, exalted warriors. Yay. Breathing. Inhaling through your nose, but exhaling through your mouth if you like. And bring your arms back into warrior two. Lower your shoulders, relax them. Bring your front forearm onto your front thigh. Take your back arm. You can watch it Bring it down, around, and over your ear, and open your chest to the side of your mat, pressing into the outside of your back foot, reaching with active fingers through that top arm. So a line of energy from the outside of your back foot all the way through the fingers. On an inhale, you're going to straighten your front leg and come into Trikonasana, triangle pose. You want both of your shoulders to be stacked, one on top of the other. You don't need to hyperextend that front leg. You can keep a soft bend in it. And then looking down, we're coming back into Parsvottanasana, bringing the top arm over the ear. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, Parsvottanasana. Inhale, coming into Trikonasana, triangle pose. And bend the front knee, come back into warrior two, warrior two. Shoulders relaxed. Again, look down at your knee. Can you see your big toe inside of your knee? The knee likes to collapse inwards. Maintain your alignment. You'll be healthier and safer in all of your movements when you take what you're learning off the mat into what you do every day. Inhale, coming up. Once again, you're turning sideways on your mats. Your toes are pointed out. So you're sideways on your mats. That's right. Look at your favorite person. And then fold forward. With your fingertips tented on the floor, we're going to lunge over to the left and bring your bum as close to your heels as you can. If you don't, you need to have your feet wide apart in order to pull off this lunge. Of course, be mindful if you have any knee issues. Inhaling up and over to the other side. And because this is so good for our hips and our knees, come on up one more time and over to the other side. Inhaling up and over. And then walk your feet in towards one another. You're still kind of bent over. We want to line up our ankles, our knees, and our hips, and we're going to come into our favorite horseman's pose, Utkatasana, or as I like to say, how you're going to brush your teeth. So you're going to push your weight into the back of your feet. You're going to pretend you're sitting on a chair. Come on up, sitting on a chair. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Utkatasana, horseman's pose. Your toes should be in front of your knees. Toes should be in front of your knees. So look down. Hello, hello, hello. Exhale, forward fold. Let your heads hang. Give your heads a swing. Inhale, come halfway up on your mats. Placing your hands on your shins, tabletop your spine. Exhale, forward fold, slide your hands down your feet, and then bend your knees. One more, Utkatasana. Transfer your weight into the backs of your feet. Bend your knees a lot as if you were sitting in a chair, riding a horse, and stretch your arms up. So this is a bit extreme, but when you're bending over to brush your teeth or do anything at all, or especially if you're picking anything up, I think you all know, be sure to bend your knees. Exhale, forward fold, and then bend your knees and bring yourself down onto your mat. And we'll just do one last little twist to make sure our backs are going to be tip-top magoo. Extend your left leg out in front, and let's place the left hand on the outside of the right knee and draw it across the body. Extend the other arm out to the other side if you like, and perhaps turn your head to the opposite side of where the bent knee is. Again, using your breath to soften whatever part of your body feels a little tight, holding some tension. Remember, those hips are the junk drawer where we stuff whatever we didn't get to process. And just know by stretching, we are allowing the body to let go of and to release what isn't serving us. Inhale, come back to center. Keep the right knee bent, draw the left knee up. Extend your right leg down in front and place your right hand on the outside of your left knee. Twist and turn, bringing it over to the other side. And again, if you like, you can turn your head to the opposite side, breathing with awareness into the place where you're holding the most amount of stress or tension. These things are unavoidable, but we can do a lot to mitigate simply by breathing in and letting it go with your exhalation. Remember, relax is a word that comes from Latin, and it means to let go. And coming back into the center. If you need to put anything warm on for your Savasana, please do that. If you have something to cover your eyes, please do that as well. Feel good about your efforts. And when you can, bring your body into a full and complete state of relaxation. Even if you don't have an eye cover, if you have some clothing or something to cover your eyes. Palms are facing up in the open and receiving position. Eyes are closed. Let your eyeballs sink into their sockets. Let your feet splay out to the side. Separate the biting surfaces of the teeth. Relax the jaw. And let your bodies be soft and heavy. You know, the bad news is we start aging after about the age of 20. The good news is, if you can truly remember or hang out with little kids, they say a 4-year-old can laugh up to 300 times a day, and that a 40-year-old might laugh 4 times a day. Norman Cousins, who wrote a book called Anatomy of an Illness, had terrible arthritis, inflammation, and pain. He watched the Marx Brothers, whatever makes you laugh. He felt it definitely reduced the inflammation and the pain that he was feeling due to his arthritis. Some of you may know that book. When we laugh, we produce dopamine that results in endorphins. Endorphins strengthen and bolster your immune system, whereas stress hormones like cortisol and norepinephrine, I mean, we need them sometimes, but we don't need them all the time. Even putting a smile on your face can have an overall relaxation effect on your body. And in yoga, one of the spiritual paths teaches us to move beyond liking and disliking. Raga and Devesha, our attachment to things that we want more of, that we like, and Devesha is our aversion to things we don't like. And that cycle of craving pleasure and pushing away unpleasantness is a major source of unhappiness, frustration, dissatisfaction. And it brings a sense of heaviness and despair and hopelessness. So just, awareness is the first step. This is not about slamming ourselves or blaming or shaming. Never, never, never. Don't bother. It's a waste of energy. We're humans. We have our strengths. We have our weaknesses. But truly, we were made from love. We are just love. Anything other than love is fear, which is an acronym for false evidence appearing real. There are the other acronyms that I wouldn't say in public, but we just need to be in touch that worry and fear are about living in the future. Regret and resentment about living in the past. And that's why the present is such a gift. If we can just remain present with where we are, who we're with, breathing in love, exhaling love. Peace begins with us. Inhale the life force long, full, and deep through your nose. And if you wish, exhale through your mouth. Again, inhaling long, full, and deep. And deep, exhaling. Inhale, sweep your arms over beyond your heads, reaching, stretching. Point feet far, flex and point. And drop your arms down by your sides. Take a moment to roll over onto your side, maybe using your bottom arm as a pillow, bending your knees to protect your lower back. Put your little Buddha smile on. And when you're ready, press yourself back up into a seated position. If you can locate your cushion and you want to sit cross-legged. And then, again, it's optional, even silently. Thinking of Om is as powerful as making the sound, but I do invite you, if you wish, to make that sound of Om just once. Inhaling together. Om Shanti, Namaste.